Hack and Purpose Leadership delivers 10 times the results than traditional leadership development. And what I'm going to do in the next few minutes is show you how I'm helping leaders just like you break free from the restrictions of their leadership style to experience 10 times the results when it comes to building healthier partnerships. Now, why is partnership important? Because partnership is the gold standard when it comes to increasing leadership effectiveness. And I'm sure that throughout your career, you've been told that if you discovered your leadership style, then that would be an efficient way of increasing leadership effectiveness. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the board and I'm going to do a comparative analysis between traditional leadership development and the Hack and Purpose leadership model, because I need you to see with your own two eyes the difference between the two and why you need to make that transition from the traditional leadership development to the Hack and Purpose leadership model. And what we're going to be discovering is what we consider as 4 leadership effectiveness hacks that every leader needs to know. In other words, this is our secret sauce when it comes to helping you deliver the 10 times the result. In fact, in my upcoming webinar, I'm going to take you into a deeper dive into these 4 leadership effectiveness hacks. So let's go to the board and let's start with hack number 1, because it deals with the reality that every leader needs to understand how to overcome what we call the number 1 leadership effectiveness hack called purpose deficit disorder. And I'm sure that might be the first time that you heard of PDD, but it certainly should not be the last time that you heard of purpose deficit disorder, because purpose deficit disorder is that unseen enemy that's working behind the scene in regards to your leadership effectiveness. So regardless of how hard you try, PDD is working behind the scene to undermine your best effort. And when the culture is influenced by PDD, it's going to increase the risk of having bitter relationships and work becoming bitter on your team. And I'm sure that throughout your career, you've had an experience with bitter relationships, and the actual work that you may have had to do at that time turned into a bitter experience. And in situations like that, it's hard and it's difficult to get the team to engage in those types of situations. So that's the result and the product of PDD working behind the scenes. So as a leader, you need to understand how to identify and remove purpose deficit disorder. And in my upcoming webinar, you're going to understand the importance of that. But as you can see, under the traditional leadership development model, PDD is never a conversation. But under the Hack and Purpose leadership model, it's not just a conversation, it's a skill set that we teach you how to master so that you can identify and remove PDD and put your team on the path of building healthier partnerships. Now let's deal with hack number 2, because in hack number 2, it talks about specifically how you need to anchor soft skills to the energy of purpose to help followers get more done. And again, I'm sure that you may not have ever heard of the energy of purpose, but it is the most important resource that you have as a leader, because without the energy of purpose, you have a high risk for misrepresenting the vision and the mission of your organization. And that's the last thing that you want to do. So as a leader, you need to understand, how do you anchor your soft skills? And I'm sure that throughout your career, you've had a lot of soft skills training, but you never had the training where we teach you how to anchor your soft skills to the energy of purpose to help followers get more done. Now, why is that important? Because it's the difference between cracking the whip and cracking the code of purpose. See, under your leadership style, you have to crack the whip to get things done. But under the Hack and Purpose leadership model, you understand how to crack the code of purpose, in which you will understand how to get more done by cracking the code of purpose versus cracking the whip. And as you can see, on the traditional leadership development, never a conversation. But under the Hack and Purpose leadership model, it's not just a conversation, it's a skill set that we teach you how to anchor your soft skills to the energy of purpose. Now let's talk about hack number 3. And hack number 3 deals with your ability to create a culture. Because as a leader, you are that catalyst for the culture that in which your team is working. So it talks about how to create a culture that delivers a higher buy-in to change. And here's the deal. Regardless of whether you're part of a large organization, small, mid-sized, or you're an entrepreneur with a few employees, or you're administrative leaders, change is inevitable. In other words, change is going to happen. Things are going to happen. And in fact, things will go wrong. Well, what do you need when things go wrong? You're going to need what we call a purpose IQ. In fact, your purpose IQ is the highest measure. It's the most important measure of your leadership ability. Is that when it comes to change within your organization, you're going to have to use your purpose IQ as your go-to move, your go-to resource to help your followers buy into the change that's a part of your organization. So measuring your purpose IQ is important. And in my upcoming webinar, I'm going to talk about how you can measure your purpose IQ, because one of the things that we always say here at the Purpose Development Institute is that it's hard to change what you can't measure. So we're going to help you measure your purpose IQ so that you can increase the buy-in to change. And as you can see, never a conversation under traditional leadership development, but under the Hacking Purpose leadership model. It's not just a conversation. It's a skill set that we teach you how to measure and develop that skill set so that now you can increase the buy-in for change. So now you can pretty much see how we're helping leaders just like you deliver that 10-time result when it comes to leadership effectiveness. Now, in our last hack, we deal with the freedom of the restrictions of your leadership style. Now, I'm sure that you are familiar with your leadership style, and you've been familiar with it throughout your entire career. But there's something important that you need to know, because when you are restrained under your leadership style, you're going to be in bondage to personalities. In other words, you're going to get caught up in managing the personalities on your team, and how you manage the personality on your team is going to determine how effective you are as a leader. And then last thing that you want to do is to be in bondage to your leadership style. So under the Hacking Purpose leadership model, we teach you the system of how to break free from that restriction so that you can experience freedom at another level and never put you and your team in bondage to personalities again. So under the traditional leadership development model, this is never a conversation, but under the Hacking Purpose leadership model, it's not just a conversation. It is a skill set that we teach you on how to break free. And in my upcoming webinar, I want to spend some time with you to teach you these powerful leadership effectiveness hacks, the secret sauce that's going to help you break free from the restrictions of your leadership style. So what I need you to do is that go to the description underneath this video, click on that link that says mygrowthpotential.com, and you need to register to reserve your seat to be a part of this life-changing experience, this career-changing experience that's going to help you break free from the restrictions of your leadership style. Again, my name is Donald Jenkins, and I look forward to connecting with you in my upcoming webinar.